In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, welcome to another session of Finding God. We are on chapter 55, and in terms of revelation, in terms of arrangement, it's chapter 6, Surah Al An'am, which means the cattle. And it starts with a very, very beautiful verse, the way God has designed it and arranged it. Um, in terms of revelation, which is the order in which I'm studying it, it means one thing. In terms of arrangement, it kind of ties into uh, this is the sixth chapter. So the first few chapters, Surah Al Fatiha, Al Baqarah, Al Imran, Al Nisa, Al Ma'idah. These are all chapters. I've only covered one of these so far, by the way, because it wasn't revealed by this time. Um, so the theme is about God's dominion, God's power, rejection of polytheism, and so forth. And this was also revealed in Mecca. The order is something that's very important here. Um, and it says that it's kind of tied into, certain scholars have found it to have a relationship with other chapters. So with the first one, um, uh, till the fifth one, there's a collection, and then from the sixth to the ninth, then 10th to the 24th, there seem to be some divisions in the Quran. The chapter talks about the story of Abraham. I'm reading from some other resources that I've seen on it. So it's an important chapter, um, but it's a long one, if I may say so myself. And it does certainly take time to complete it. So I'm going to spend some time reading up to, what was it? I think verse 38. And then I'll finish it in four parts. 37. I'll read till 37. The reason I read till 37 and maybe not 45 or something is because there's a lyrical quality after verse 38 for a certain section. Did we not do this? What would you do if this happened? That's sort of a lyrical quality which I want to touch upon altogether, not just in the introduction phase. So I want to explore that separately next week, inshallah. Um, on the 28th. So here we go. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Bismillah. All praises and thanks be to God, who alone created the heavens and the earth and originated the darkness and the light. Yet those who disbelieve hold others as equal with their Lord. Oh, that's lovely. Originated the darkness and the light. So our belief of the Big Bang, not belief, our scientifically motivated inclination to agree with the phenomena that is so called the Big Bang. Sorry, I have to be specific. Um, Says that there was an infinite darkness, infinite silence, and there was nothing, and then from nothing came something, which was matter, antimatter, and I don't want to get into the physics of it, but the Big Bang happened. Here it is saying that darkness originates, originated the darkness and the light. I love that because the Quran talks about these things in a very interesting manner, and only God, who is the creator of all things, can talk about darkness as if something that's created. We normally conceptualize darkness as an absence of light, but it's not always the case, is it? Darkness is also a creation, and darkness isn't just negativity. Um, in fact, many wonderful things happen in the dark. Um, Silence and peace, for one. Or when Prophet Muhammad was uh, was in the cave. The cave was dark. It wasn't lit by 1,000 candles. It was a dark cave meditation. In fact, deep recesses of your heart, deep recesses of the ocean, deep recesses of the universe are all dark and hidden. And you have to gradually go into them. Some you can shine a light on, others you can't, and you have to experience them. So darkness is something really beautiful, but I love how it's explained here. He it is who has created you from clay and then has decreed a stated term for you to die. And there is with him another determined term for you to be resurrected, yet you doubt in the resurrection. So we will die and then we will be brought back, and it is God and God alone who decides when and how that will happen. And as Muslims, we submit our will to the Almighty. But to critics, I would encourage them to perhaps consider the opinion. And He is God, or Allah, to be worshipped alone in the heavens and on the earth. He knows what you conceal and what you reveal, and He knows what you earn, good or bad. This will be explained in another chapter too. I love it. He knows what you conceal and what you reveal. So a lot of people think that what we conceal is the only thing that requires investigation. Because why are you hiding it? But what we reveal is also an important, if not more important part, because what you reveal ends up showing us what you conceal. So if you can look at somebody's social media and decide, this is my life partner, and never having spoken to them, just saying social media, then you're a fool and you know that. But that's all they reveal. They never choose to reveal their hardships, their heartbreaks. Well, some people do, and that goes into a different direction. But what we reveal or don't reveal is also very important. And never an ayah, a sign, a verse, comes to them from the ayat, which are the verses of their Lord, but that they have been turning away from it. Yeah, so they're moving away. Indeed, they rejected the truth, the Quran and Muhammad, peace be upon him, when it came to them, but there will come to them the news of that torment which they used to mock at. So we have people like this even today. We have people like this who say, well, no, there is no meaning to life. Life is going to end. We live, we die, and the wheels of the bus go round and round. So there are people who still say that. So which they used to mock or mock at is an example of those people, and they exist even today. But the Quran says that they will know. The news will come to them. Have they not seen how many a generation before them we have destroyed, whom we had established on the earth, such as we have not established you? God is saying, I gave them so much, I built them up, but when they went astray, I destroyed even them. I haven't even built you up that much yet. Look at you, learn from their mistake. Come on. That's what God is saying. And we poured out on them rain from the sky in abundance and made the rivers flow under them. Yet we destroyed them for their sins, and we created after them other generations. So this could be about a hat tip or a nod to Noah, or it could be other people. If it's talking about the rain in abundance, it could be a nod to Noah, or it could be Egypt, Moses. It could be any other people. And even if we had sent down unto you, O Muhammad, a message written on paper so that they could touch it with their hands or with their hands, the disbelievers would have said, there's nothing but obvious magic. That is true. There's this wonderful capacity of human beings, and I suppose I would fall prey to it too on occasion. Even in the face of overwhelming evidence, we can reject something and say, that's not true. I don't believe it. Oh, you forged it. Oh, it's magic. It's very interesting. The truly rational in us are very rare, and I tend to call myself a rationalist, but I suppose even I would have my limits. For example, I say rationality is as far as I can see, and faith is everything beyond that. So everything the light touches is rationality, and everything beyond is faith. And what I say is faith is the foundation. So, but it's hard to reconcile that. People will deny something that is presented to them. And they say, why has not an angel been sent down to him? Had we sent down an angel, the matter would have been judged at once and no respite would be granted to them. That's true. You don't really want an angel coming down, because then the angel wouldn't be. You be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. If you're looking for Gabriel and Gabriel shows up and Gabriel decides to smite your land or your people, you're done for. You can't run. And had we appointed him an angel, we indeed would have made him a man, and we would have certainly confused them, in which they are already confused, i.e. the message of the Prophet Muhammad. So fair enough. It's God's logic, and it's beyond our logic. God is saying that if I had created an angel, see, because the point of the matter is, who would you rather trust or relate to? Let's say we put an alien up for election for prime minister, like a not a legal illegal alien, an actual alien from another planet. But the alien is concerned about changing atmospheric pressure to benefit his breathing and to grow certain species of animals and plants which will be harmful to you but beneficial to him or her, and constructing a world engine which can change the gravity of your world. That's not something we relate to, and it's not in our best interests. So we tend to receive the message best from those who have some sort of a relation to us. And I don't mean only racial, gendered, ethnic. It could be ideological, it could be phenotypical, it could be many other things. For example, Jordan Peterson and I have nothing in common in terms of looks or in terms of ethnicity or race. We have the same gender, sure, although I don't know how he's identifying these days. But in that manner, I tend to think he's very smart and has some wonderful points. In the same breath, Rahul Gandhi or Imran Khan has very similar things to me, but I don't agree with their politics. So we tend to align with somebody on certain values. So one of the reasons is, even if an angel was sent down to the earth, God would have made him a man, so we can relate to him and can emulate. And indeed, many messengers before you were mocked at, but their scoffers were surrounded by the very thing that they used to mock at. Say, O Muhammad, travel in the land and see what was the end of those who rejected truth. Say, O Muhammad, to whom belongs all that is in the heavens and the earth. And here, say to God, he has prescribed mercy for himself. And I shall stop here because the verse is long. Indeed, he will gather you together on the day of resurrection, about which there is no doubt. Those who have lost themselves will not believe in God as being the only God, or Ilah, and Muhammad as being one of his messengers and in resurrection. They won't believe in it. In the footnote, it says, as you can see here, narrated by Abu Huraira, I heard God's messenger saying, God has divided mercy into 100 parts, and he kept 99 parts with him and sent down one part to the earth. And because of that one single part, his creatures are merciful to each other, so that even the mare lifts up its hoof away from its baby animal, lest it should trample on it. What an example. Sahih al-Bukhari 8,6000. Narrated by Abu Hurairah, God's messenger said, when God completed the creation, he wrote in his book, which is with him on his throne, verily, my mercy has overcome my anger. This is from Sahih al-Bukhari 43194. Oh, that breaks my heart. It's so beautiful. That is so beautiful. While today we may feel that we're entitled to mercy, we really aren't. We're sinners, we're manipulators, we're liars, all of us, every single one of us. And God, who has created us, has every right to be angry or to be rage-filled, but he's merciful, and his mercy is greater than his anger, and I'm grateful for that. Imagine a God who would only punish. There are certain gods like that in polytheistic religions who only punish, or they have certain forms which are severely tormenting human beings or their worshippers if they violate the principles, and it's a horrible feeling. So this one true God of Abrahamic religions is merciful, and his mercy is greater than his anger and his justice. That's a very important lesson. And to him belongs whosoever exists in the night and the day, and he is the all-hearing, the all-knowing. Say, O Muhammad, shall I take as a wali, a helper, protector, Lord of God, any other than God, the creator of the heavens and the earth? And it is he who feeds but is not fed. Say, verily, I am commanded to be the first of those who submit themselves to God as Muslims. And be not you, O Muhammad, of the mushrikun, the polytheists, pagans, idolaters, disbelievers in the oneness of God. This is from Tafsir al-Qurtubi. I love how it's said here. Who can I trust more than the creator of the heaven and the earth? I love how it's framed here. It's perfectly done. Say, I fear, if I disobey my Lord, the torment of a mighty day. He who is averted from such a torment on that day, God has surely been merciful to him, and that would be the obvious success. Dear Lord, please include me, my family, my friends, and all of us in it. Your heart, your room, your embrace is so large. I beg you to include all of us. That's something as Muslims we tend to fear. I suppose other religions too, but that's something I'm truly afraid of, and I hope I can be one of the included. And that would be the obvious success. Yes, it would be an obvious success if we are spared from the torment of that day. And if God touches you with harm, none can remove it but He. And if He touches you with good, then He is able to do all things. And He is the irresistible, supreme above His slaves. And He is the all-wise, well acquainted with all things, because He is the creator of all things. Say, O Muhammad, what thing is the most great in witness? Say, God, the most great, is witness between me and you. So first it's talking about a wali, a protector. Now it's talking about a witness. So it's I wouldn't say it's humanizing God, but it's anthropomorphizing the relationship to see, well, this is an entity and he's a protector and a sustainer. So I trust him. And then a witness as well. What thing is the most great in witness? Say, God is witness between me and you. This Quran has been revealed to me that I may therewith warn you and whomsoever it may reach. Can you verily bear witness that besides God there are other aliha or other gods? Say, I bear no witness. No such witness. Say, but in truth, He is the only one ilah, God. And truly I am innocent of what you join in worship with Him. That's true. Polytheism is a tricky business, but as I've said before, left to their own devices, people end up gravitating towards polytheism. And when there's a messenger, it's always, or if not always, then mostly of the one true God. That's all of them have talked about the same thing. Because polytheism is sort of emergent, and monotheism is sort of brought. Like, look, this is the great Lord, rather than these other 15 or 5,000 or 33 million. So this is an interesting statement. Those to whom we have given the scripture, the Old Testament and the Gospel, the Jews and the Christians, recognize him, Muhammad, as a messenger of God. That's spelled incorrectly. And they also know that there is no other God but God, and Islam is God's religion, as they recognize their own sons. Those who have lost, destroyed themselves, will not believe. They're not there yet. And who does more aggression and wrong than he who invents a lie against God or rejects his verses? Verily the Zalimun, the polytheist wrongdoers, shall never be successful. It's an interesting rhetoric because it's poetry. What is being said here is that the person who invents a lie against God or rejects his verses does the most aggression and wrong. But it's written in this poetic manner because in Arabic or in any other language, it sort of breaks the barriers of how we comprehend things. When you flip a sentence back and forth, for example, if I tell you I love you, or I love that you came with me today to this opera, that's a steady line of understanding. But if I said something along the lines of, this opera was elevated and my love for you multiplied by your presence here. That hits differently. So, poetic license, and God is the greatest poet. That's incredibly important because it tends to break away the rational substructures of how we process information, and it goes directly to the heart and the soul. So I understand why it's written in that manner, or at least that's my theory of it. And on the day when we shall gather them all together, then we shall say to those who join partners in worship with us, where are your partners, false deities, whom you used to assert as partners in worship with God? These false gods, systems of the weak. Where are they? I thank God that I don't struggle with that problem. Thankfully, I believe in the God of Abraham, the God of Noah, the God of Jesus, Moses, Muhammad. Thank God I believe in that God. There will then be left no fitna, excuses or statements or arguments for them, but to say, by Allah or by God our Lord, we were not those who joined others in worship with God. Yes, fair enough. We do that even in court today. When you get caught, you say, well, I didn't do it. Well, in fact, you did. So it's only evident that on the day of judgment, you behave the same way. Look how they lie against themselves, but the lie which they invented will disappear from them. And of them there are some who listen to you. We have set veils on their hearts, so they understand it not, and deafness in their ears. And even if they see every one of the ayat, the verses, they will not believe therein, to the point that when they come to you to argue with you, the disbelievers say, these are nothing but tales of the men of old. Ooh, I wonder why. It's written here in such a manner which indicates that perhaps this was the case from the beginning. But I don't think that is the case. I think initially these people were reached out to, they were proselytized to. Muhammad, peace be upon him, tried to warn them, tried to make them see his way, and they didn't listen. And then a veil was put upon their heart. And that's true even of Muslims today. Even of Muslims today, or any worshipper, or any holy man or woman. You're given several chances, but after a while, God's like, I'm going to veil your heart, and you're not going to hear it, and it's not going to touch you. And that's a horrible state of affairs, because you need a massive occurrence to take place to jolt you out of that stupor. And if that doesn't happen, that you're going to die a painless, silent death of the soul. And they prevent others from following Prophet Muhammad, and they themselves keep away from him. And by doing so, they destroy not but their own selves, yet they perceive it not. That's true. If you're rejecting the faith because it is making you question your own, then perhaps you should question your own. And if you're so eminently confident in what you believe, then the things around you are not something to worry about. So I say to Muslims all the time, go to a bar, go anywhere where you might be afraid of succumbing to sin, and know that in your heart you will not succumb, you will not allow yourself that, because what you believe in is the supreme belief. I certainly do believe that. Now, pragmatically and practically speaking, of course, you should avoid the dangerous zones. A, because of chance, but B, because it's not just one sin, it's many sins at the same time. And it's better to be safe than sorry. My point here is to have faith in your faith. That's all I'm saying. So when Muhammad shows up at your door and says, well, there's one God, there's not 15, there's not 3,000. And if you say, get out, we're not going to listen to you, that's not the right way. That's why I even say to all my Muslim friends and I myself, listen to atheists, listen to Hindus, listen to every other religion. Open yourself to it, hear it, and then see, am I right or am I wrong? And can I refine myself further or not? If you can't, then perhaps you should shift gears. That is the simple state of affairs. You have to expose your belief to 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 strengthen it. You have to expose it to the flame so it becomes brighter and shinier and sharper. If you could but see when they will be held over the hellfire, they will say, would that we were but sent back to the world, then we would not deny the verses of our Lord, and we would be of the believers. Well, of course you say that now. Of course you say that now. But what about then? It's too late now. The train has left. Nay, it has become manifest to them what they had been concealing before. But if they were returned to the world, they would certainly revert to that which they were forbidden. And indeed they are liars. And they said, there is no other life but our present life of this world, and never shall we be resurrected on the day of resurrection. See, my point here is exactly the same point about believing in God. There's many things we don't have the evidence for, temporally, spatially, or existentially. We just don't have the evidence for it. So to deny it outright wouldn't be helpful. That's not to say that you should become a superstitious monk and doubt everything. But what I'm saying is, if something has persisted over centuries and millennia, perhaps you shouldn't simply decry it because there is no evidence. Perhaps you should say, why have all those people for the last 180,000 years believed in this, but I don't because I have a superior science? We haven't always grown exponentially. There have been cycles of growth for human beings. So you should, if you're going to make a decision, you should open your mind in it. So to say that there is no day of resurrection is a foolhardy statement at best. Because what if there is? And you're not prepared for it. That's the whole point. The same argument is made for God. You say there is no God. Okay, but what if there is? Even that statement alone should generate a series of conversations where you're not only functioning on flawed logic. Oh, what if there is a leprechaun? What if there is a ghost? How am I going to? No, I'm talking about persistent thoughts over millennia. That should be judged differently. If you could but see when they will be held, brought and made to stand in front of their Lord, he will say, is not this resurrection and the taking of the accounts the truth? They will say, yes, by our Lord. He will then say, so taste you the torment, because you used not to believe. Ugh. They indeed are losers who denied their meeting with God, until all of a sudden the hour, signs of death, is on them, and they say, alas, for us that we gave no thought to it, while they will bear their burdens on their backs. And evil indeed are the burdens that they will bear. And in the footnote it says, narrated by Abu Musa, the Prophet said, whoever loves the meeting with God, God too loves the meeting with him, and whoever hates the meeting with God, God too hates the meeting with him. Sahih al-Bukhari 86508. Wow. What does it mean, meeting with God? That's very interesting. And the life of this world is nothing but play and amusement. It is, isn't it? But far better is the house in the hereafter for those who are al-muttaqun, the pious. Will you not then understand? We know indeed the grief which their words cause you, O Muhammad. This is it. It is not you that they deny, but it is the verses, the Quran of God, that the Zalimun deny. This is such a beautiful verse. God is simply saying to his messenger, to his beloved, I know what they're putting you through. I know. Trust me, I know. Don't worry. They're not denying you, they're denying the verses. This is so incredibly emotional. The creator of the universe is consoling the messenger of Islam. Consoling. Don't worry about it. It'll be okay. Don't worry. Isn't that incredible? Verily, Many messengers were denied before you, O Muhammad, but with patience they bore the denial, and they were hurt, till our help reached them, and none can alter the words or decisions of God. Surely there has reached you the information about the messengers before you. Yes, there has. If their aversion from you, O Muhammad, and from that which you have been sent, with which you have been sent, is hard on you, and you cannot be patient with their harm to you, then if you are able to seek a tunnel in the earth or a ladder to the sky, so that you may bring them a sign, and you cannot do it, so be patient. Oh, interesting. So it's rhetorically a bit twisted again, but it's simply saying if the aversion is hard on you, then dig deep or climb high and bring them a sign, but you can't. So be patient. And had God willed, he could have gathered them together, all on true guidance. So be not you one of those who are al-jahilun, the ignorant. After consoling the Prophet, I think God has explained to him, look, there were people before you as well. They were patient. Be patient. It's not an easy road. I've selected you because you have been fashioned for this road. So be patient. It'll be okay. It is only those who listen to the message of Muhammad will respond, benefit from it. But as for the dead or the disbelievers, God will raise them up. Then to him they will be returned for their recompense. And they said, why is not a sign sent down to him from his Lord? Say, God is certainly able to send down a sign, but most of them know not. Okay, I'll stop at 39. There is not a moving living creature on earth, nor a bird that flies with its two wings, but our communities like you. We have neglected nothing in the book. Then unto their Lord they all shall be gathered. Those who reject our verses are deaf and dumb in the darkness. God sends astray whom he wills, and he guides on the straight path whom he wills. And I stop here because then the rhetorical device starts after that. Surah Al-An'am is an important one, but you see, it's less stories, it's more reasoning. It's God's reasoning, God's argumentation. It's God consoling Prophet Muhammad on his path. So it's a very important chapter, and I'm grateful that I'm here. We still have a long, long way to go. This chapter will take me 4 weeks. So mid-August. And then I start the one after that. Yeah, we're only halfway there. So I think a year and a half is left at least, if not more, if not maybe 2 years. But I love this book, and I hope to continue opening it up and reading it. So thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. And I shall see you next week.